Big welcome to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta, and today we're here for you guys with a set break, but only on Spike Brothers. So this is set 13 Ultimate Stride, and if you want me to do these kind of videos on other clans, I could do that as well. But you could always go to different fights. He does a lot of set breaks, and also remember to visit Living Proof and check his channel out because he has a lot of videos on Spike Brothers and the new units, especially when something come out for Spike Brothers or a new cards is revealed. He always does videos on that as well, so that's really nice to see. Now to talk about the set, first of all, we of course have one reprint, which is Dudley Geronimo. We have 10 other commons, 2 rares, 3 double rares, one of them could be an SB. The reprint, Dudley Geronimo, I do like the art a lot, but I didn't agree with him being the reprint. This should have been Rising Nova, the old one, the grade 3, so people could play the deck easier, or this should have been Dirty Picker or Miracle Ace. But enough about that, let's just go through the support and let me tell you my thoughts. First of all, of course, we have the Bull Power, so our new double rare in SP. This card is amazing. Let's talk about his skill. So first of all, when this unit attacks, you pay the cost, which is a counterblast and a persona flip. So he unflips something from your G zone, which is nice. And then you choose any number of rare cards and bind them. If 3 or more cards were bound, you draw a card and then you choose up to 2 cards from your bind zone for each face-up card in your G zone, and you call them to separate rare card circles. And they have to be, of course, open rare card circles. So the thing with him is you could just put a draw trigger out there, you could attack with a draw trigger, bind the draw, and call 3 units. Because if you bind 3, you draw a card, but if you don't bind 3, you could still call. And he calls units, so if you have him as your first stride, you can call up to 2 units, but if you have him as a second or third stride, you can like fill up your field, which is very nice. So not only does he call more units, but he charges them because he does that in a different way. You call your charge units on the field, they are not charged, you attack with them, and after the attack you bind them with willpower and you call them back and make them charge. So that's really interesting about him is he does the same what Rising Nova does, but he costs you counterblast and he draws you cards and gives you more attacks. So yeah, I'm very happy with this card. The only downside to him is he costs you counterblast, of course, and the other thing is that he targets rare cards. If this card targets circles or cards, then that would be better because that would mean that you could work around lock, but he could not work around lock. So there is a lot to talk about Spike Brothers, but I would like to keep this video as short as possible, so I'll go to the next card. If you want to know more about him or about the other strategies that you could do with him, with Cheetah, with other cards, you could always comment and I would try to explain that out, of course. Now we have our Great Star. This card being just a double rare, as I said, I would have been very happy if this card was an SP as well. He has the charge ability, which is very important, especially for your Miracle Ace. And then he has 2 different skills. First, we have an on-place skill, which is on Vanguard or Rearguard. You counterblast 1 and you put 1 card from your hand into the soul. It's not GB, it's just normal. And then you may search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 or less card with charge ability, and you call it to an open Rearguard circle. You shuffle your deck. If this card is charging, you get an extra 3k until the end of turn. And then you have Generation Break 2 skill, which is at the end of each turn. If the number of rare cards is 2 or less, choose one of your rare cards and you may put it into your soul. If you do, draw a card. His Generation Break 2 skill is really good because you can draw more cards during your turn or at the end of your turn or at the end of your opponent's turn. It also means that when your cards are unlocked, you could put them into your soul, so your opponent doesn't get the chance to lock them again. So that's also very impressive. And of course with Dirty Picker, sometimes you call something behind your Vanguard and you could just put it into your soul. So he does help out empty up your field and fill up your soul and draws you cards. I do like his skill a lot. This GB2 skill is really good on the Vanguard circle. His first skill is very heavy and it's really awkward. The reason for that is it's on place. Most of the Spike Ruler cards are when they attack or after the attack. But him or he, and you also have Axe Diver, which are on place. And that's really good, because being on place gives you a whole different dimension to the deck. Like, you call him, you call something else, but normally you don't really have that. So sometimes you could be very awkward, but at the same time, he does open up a whole new combos for you. One thing that I don't really like about him is the extra 3k that he gets is only when you use his skill. So that 3k should have been a part of the charge ability. So when this unit is charged, get an extra 3k. That should have been the case, but that's not the case. So that could be bad, because sometimes you really want to make that 21 column with Frog Raider, but because you do really have to use his skill first, sometimes you don't get the extra 3k. But yeah, there is the same with the Stride. There is a lot to talk about Rising Star, but I will just keep it at that for now. Now we have the cheer girl thingy, Dudley. Heal trigger. So most of the clans will get this heal trigger. I think all of them will get this. And the thing with this G-Guard or heal trigger is that whenever you G-Guard with her, you bind her, and you bind one more card from your drop zone, which are heal, or has heal, yeah, heal triggers. So you bind her and one more heal from the drop zone, and you may counter charge or soul charge. But the most important thing about her is you can counter charge. And one more thing, she has the Dudley name. That would mean that Jelly Beans could search her out. And that would mean you could easily search out your heal triggers now. You could use Mega Trainers, you could use your Jelly Beans. It's like you could always get your heal triggers in your hand very fast, and it's crazy. Jelly Beans was already used in a lot of turbo decks for spikes, because most of them do really want to get the 10k as a right target, and it's always alright to put Jelly Beans into your soul or discard them as a stride fodder, so that's alright. And in some decks you don't really need the Hive Maker. So Jelly Beans already seen some used for Dudley Mason or for your 10k Dudley guy. But now with the new Dudley heal, you will see more plays of Jelly Beans. And if this deck will go crazy and rampaging on like the first stride GB8 with getting 4 heals in hand, I think that Jelly Beans will be put at 1. But there is really no reason to do that, because it's really inconsistent to get 3 or 4 heals into your hand and go GB1 first turn. Next we have the first rare, which is a amazing card. This is a G-Guardian for spikes, and it doesn't cost you a counter blast or anything. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, choose up to 3 cards with different grades from the drop zone or soul, and you put them in the bottom of your deck in any order. If 3 cards or more are put, this card gets 10k shield. So, he's like an Iris, but from your soul and your drop zone. Or Ururu, I mean, and he puts those cards in the bottom of your deck, which is perfect for spikes, so you could reuse them. And he also gets 10k shield. And he puts cards from the drop zone and soul. I mean, there is not really much to say about him. This card is really good. It's amazing that we finally get something that could recycles. So now you could reuse your drop zone from your bind zone. You could reuse your soul. You have a lot of different combos that you could do with spikes. So that's amazing. And one of the cards that help out with the bind zone combo is of course our new PG, which finally we have a Perfect Guard, which has the charge ability and does something. This Perfect Guard also could guard your Vanguard and Rearguard, so that's nice. He guards units and not only the Vanguard. And then he has the auto ability, which is not even GB. When this unit is put into your deck from the Rearguard circle, you choose up to 3 cards from the drop zone, and bind them face up. Choose one of your units, and that unit gets an extra 10k for each face up Cutting Brain you have in the bind zone. So he could power up your Frog Raider, he could do more than only that, but most important about him is he binds cards from the drop zone, which means you could reuse them with your stride and call them from your bind zone. So yeah, that's really impressive. Like, you combine him, and then with the stride you can call him back, and while calling him back and he goes back to your deck, you could give more power because you already have him binding your bind zone. So that's amazing. Like, you could just bind himself and call him and put him back to your deck, which puts you a perfect guard back to your deck. So you recycle your perfect guards and you give more power to the rare guards. I mean, this card is really so good. I mean, just being a rare, I really hate that this card is just a rare. This should have been an SP. But yeah, it's perfect. This card is really good. And then we have our first common, which is a grade 3. This card is interesting because it has Generation Break 1, but it doesn't have Charge. He's 11k through grade 3, of course, and he has the ability, which is Counterblast 1. At the end of battle that this unit attacked, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to one card from your hand and call it to an open Vanguard circle. Until the end of turn, this unit get an extra 2k. If this was a Vanguard, that unit get an extra 2k. So, the good thing about him is he's like a Hive Maker, but he doesn't have the charge ability. And he costs you Counterblast, which is alright. But using him with the new stride would mean that he will still be on the field. That would mean that you can bind him with the new stride and call other units to replace him. So that's a good thing about him, that he doesn't leave the field. So you can always put him into your soul to draw cards with your star. So there are a lot of combos that you can do with him, and it's nice that now we have Skydiver, which is no GB on hit. We have him, which costs you a Counterblast, and he doesn't have charge. And we have Hive Maker, which has charge and costs you a Counterblast. So we have 3 options to go into. We also have another one, which is also GB on hit, call from hand. But it's nice to have different options that calls. It was very good if this card calls from deck, but he calls only from hand, which is less good. And now we have Cheetah. Oh man, there is so much to talk about this card. I mean, it's so awkward, but it's really so good. With the new stride, with the grade 3, you can really abuse this card a lot. Putting it into the soul, and with the new G Guardian, put it back from your soul back to your deck. I mean, you could reuse her. And the good thing about her is she does get the extra 5k, which makes the 21 column with Frog Raider, which is really amazing. So, Cheetah has the skill Soul Blast 1. When this unit is charging and attacks a Vanguard, she gets an extra 5k. Until the end of the battle, if this unit, you may pay the cost. If you do, which is the Soul Blast 1, you bind it and you call it as rest to an open Vanguard circle, of course. So you could just attack with her, bind her, call her back, and then attack with your stride, bind her, and call her back with your stride, attack with her again, bind her again, and then you could just call her back and then activate the skill of Great Star to put it into your soul and draw a card. Like with Great Star, you draw a card. With your with your stride, you draw a card. So it's way easier to draw cards now. And of course, now we have also the new grade 2, which he is like a misery, but it's a bit different because he also have the charge ability and after the attack, which he has, of course, charge and Generation Break 1. He has the skill, which is whenever this unit is charging, get an extra 5k. So even attacking into the rear guard, he get the extra 5k. Then we have Generation Break 1, Counterblast 1. Choose one card from your hand and put it into your soul. When this unit is charging, put from the Vanguard circle back to your deck. You may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to one non-grade 2 card and call it. So the card that you call to an open Vanguard circle, it cannot be a grade 2 and it has to have the charge ability. So you can't really use him in the Ogles, and you can't use him to call a Frog Raider, and you also can't use him to call any other grade 2. So the only good card that you really want to call are your Eliza, your Fake Bomber, or your grade 3 New Rising. So Great Star. You could only call those 3. There are another cards that you could call that counter charge and do stuff, but to be able to do really good combos, like you could do with Fake Bomber, a very good combo, which is, in my opinion, one of my favorite cards of this set. Fake Bomber is a very good replacement for Eliza, but he is way different than her. He does almost the same, but he's also very different. The thing with this card is, because we have Fake Bomber now, we could rest easy and take out our Hive Makers, because Fake Bomber does almost the same but different. So when this unit is charging, it's not even GB, he gets an extra 5k, which is very nice. So he always gets the extra 5k if he's charged, attacking or boosting. That is one thing that Eliza missed, the power. Because you always power up your Frog Raider, the unit that you have in front of Eliza and Eliza always attack for 16k, sometimes for more if you call the unit with your new Rising or with the old Rising Nova, but most of all it would only be a 16k column, and now because of Fake Bomber it still be a 21 column, so it does cost them at least 2 cards from hand to guard. Fake Bomber also has the ability, which is Generation Break 1, Soul Blast 2. Would you say a heavy cost? I would say no, it's not a heavy cost. Why? Because he has 2 skills. If you have a Vanguard with Rising, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose 1 card from your hand and call it to an open Vanguard circle, and then you countercharge 1. So you Soul Blast 2, and all of that for the 5k that you get, which is free. Then we have the Soul Blast 2, which give you an extra call and an extra soul charge, counter charge. So Soul Blast 2 for a call and a counter charge is nothing. It's really nothing. I mean, this card is really amazing. The difference between him and Eliza is that Eliza, when you do the triple tiger attack, you have to have 4 or 3 counter blasts, and he does help with that. He only needs 2 counter blasts, and after that he will open up a counter charge, which means that the card you call from hand could be like a Great Star, and the Great Star could call you the Tiger back from your deck. So it's amazing that this card could do a lot of different stuff, being so different than Eliza, but at the same time the target that you call to replace Eliza. So I do like him a lot. I'm very happy with this Great One. Then we have 2 other cards that I'm not happy with. I do understand that they try to make different things for Spike, but this is something that would not work. You have the Great 1 and the Great 2. Let's talk about the Great 2 first. So of course both of them have the charge ability, Generation Break 1 as well, on Vanguard Circle. Then the Great 2 said, when this unit is boosted, it gets an extra... when this unit boosts, if this unit is charging, she gets an extra 5k, and then until the end of battle. And if the boosted unit is the Great 1, until the end of battle your opponent cannot intercept. So if it's boosted, you get an extra 5k, and if it's boosted by the Great 1, it would be that your opponent cannot intercept. I mean, that's something that Spike, well, didn't have, but now it's good that we have that option. But at the same time, you don't really want to play 3 copies of her and the 3 copies of the Great 1, because you really don't have the space to do so. And then the Great 1, of course, Generation Break 1, he has also charge. If this unit boosts a rearguard with a charge ability, it gets an extra 3k. And then if the boosted unit was the Great 2, you can make it charge. So that's really interesting about the Great 1. It does make something charge, which is something that we sometimes need in Spikes, but at the same time it could only make the Great 2 charge, and it has only 6k, and the Great 2 has an 8k, so these 2 cards will never be played in Spike. Maybe in a format where intercepting is something really good, or when you really have to charge your Great 2s, then alright, I could see them being played, but nah, I don't even like the art. And then we have our new starter, which is a very interesting card, and I think this card would definitely be played in Dudley's, or could be played in Dudley's, but I don't think so. I mean in Bad and Dragger with the Ogles. This card was made for the Ogles. Why? Because it has the charge ability, and it has also the Forerunner ability, but mostly on rearguard continuous. If this unit is charging, all of your rearguards get an extra 2k, or charging, all of your charging rearguards get an extra 2k, and he could also counter charge when it goes back to deck. So the thing about this card is that it gives you the counter charge, and it gives your charging unit an extra 2k, and it is not a stand trigger or a trigger, so you could just play a one of him in your deck and you could still counter charge. Then we have the new Dudley critical trigger. It's nice to have more Dudley cards because we needed them, especially triggers in the Dudley deck, especially with the Vanguard, or it's more of a content wall or a wall that costs 7 cards, but you do need the Dudleys sometimes, even with revealing the 11th card and having no Dudleys in them or less Dudleys than you need. It's nice to have more Dudley stuff, and also make your jelly beans even better because he could search up more stuff. And I do like the art a lot of this card. It's really nice to see that small guy right there. And then we have finally a draw trigger with a skill. So this card has nice art, it has the Dudley name, and it has a skill, and it's a draw trigger. I mean, all of those in one. This card should have been the SP. I mean, this is the MVP of the deck. Being a draw trigger, being a Dudley, being something that could go into the soul. I mean, come on, Bushiroad, are you sure that you want to give us such a broken card? I don't know. I think that this card is the reason why Spike Brothers will just top every tournament. And that's all what I would like to say about that. So now we have another stand trigger, which is definitely useless because we don't really want to play stands, but it has an interesting skill, which is charge. Mega Instructor is the name. It has charge and Generation Break 1. Choose one card from your hand and put it into your soul. A very heavy cost, but okay. And then when this unit is put back from the rearguard to your deck, you might choose one of your rearguards, bind it, and call it to an open rearguard circle. Why not just counterblast one and put one card from your hand into the soul? I mean, look at this cost. This cost is way too heavy. You're already losing the stand trigger. You have to put one more card from your hand, and the card that you call is something that is already on your rearguard circle. So something that already attacked but was not charged. I could see this card being played, but it's like you have to call it to make it charge, or maybe from your bind zone call it back to get one more attack. Yeah, I don't really see this card seeing a lot of plays. I do see some nice combos that you could do with it, but I think that there are a lot of other cards that could do the combo better, and I also think that this card, being a stand trigger, will not see a lot of plays. So that's actually it for the set break. These are all the cards that I wanted to talk about. The most cards that I'm very excited to play are, of course, the Perfect Guard. This would definitely be a 4-off in the Spike Road deck. The G-Guardian, of course. The heal trigger will come in, and that would mean that we will see jelly beans at least at 1. And with the jelly beans being there, we will see, of course, another deadly cards that will be played. But you could also just run 1 jelly beans to add the heal trigger into your hand if you want to. Of course, Great Star. This card is amazing. I'm very happy that we finally get another awkward card in being a main grade 3. The thing about this card is it doesn't have the stride skill, so that would make your Miracle Ace turn very, very, very interesting to get off, because if there is no way to charge your units, there is no way to go Miracle Ace. And Miracle Ace is a second stride, so you can't just place this card on the Vanguard and call something. So you do need to have an Axe Diver, a Wing Killer Misery, or a Great Star to be able to call something and make it charge. You do need those 3 cards to do something, but otherwise you will not be able to get your Miracle Ace turn off with Great Star. So yeah, that's it, as I said, for the set break. Tell me what you think about this set for Spikes, and I know that a lot of people are very angry that we didn't get a triple rare or a GR. I think that's really good that we didn't get that, because that would mean that we will get more support in the upcoming sets. So I'm very, I will just sit back and relax and watch Bushiroad make set 14, and they could include like Dark Zone, Nation, and Century or United Sanctuary. They will mix both nations in one box, I think, or they would give us a clan booster for the Dark Zone, which we definitely get this at R, and we will get more Spike Road support. I mean, at least a GR and a triple R. We do need to have at least a GR and a triple R, but I think that would be the case, that we will get United Sanctuary and Dark Zone, and United Sanctuary will be definitely like a GR Angel Feather card, maybe, and Spike Rose will get the other GR, and maybe a triple rare or 2 triple rares is also alright. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, again, Great Star not being an SP is something that really disgusts me. So, because now I have to play a new Grade 3, which is not even an SP. Yeah. Bushiroad will never hear the end of this from me. But, yeah, that's it for me. That's it for the new set. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. And remember to go to our YouTube channel, to go to our Facebook group, to like our videos, subscribe to our channel, blah 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 blah. Thanks a lot, and yeah, so thanks for the love and the support, and until next time.